Hello and welcome to Learning to Learn. It's Christmas time, and once again, it's time to spend money that you don't have on things that you don't need and eat too much stuff that's not good for you. Hooray! But just because the whole world has gone consumer crazy, again, it doesn't mean to say that you can't do something which is healthy, beneficial, and costs practically nothing. And of course, I'm talking about learning. It's important to keep your brain working over Christmas, otherwise it might get a little bit rusty. But let's face it, over the Christmas period, it's difficult to find the time or the energy to do any learning whatsoever. So here's a learning suggestion which might be just ideal for the Christmas period because it requires very little effort and is easy to do even if you're completely stuffed with Christmas dinner. And that suggestion is podcasts. Now, if you're a podcast fan, that's great. But most people I talk to about learning don't listen to podcasts very much at all. And this is because they probably haven't discovered the advantages that podcasts have over other learning resources like reading books or watching videos. For instance, one of the big advantages that podcasts have is that you can listen to podcasts while you're doing other things, like driving or traveling. For many people, the time spent traveling is wasted time. We just listen to music, play games on our mobile phones. But how much benefit would it be to you if you spent that time each day listening to something that was actually helping you learn? Think about it for a moment. And another big advantage of podcasts is that you can listen to podcasts while you're going to sleep. Now, this might not sound very important, but for instance, reading a book requires mental effort before you go to sleep. And often you might find that you're just a bit too tired to do any reading before you turn the lights off. And speaking of lights, hopefully you already know that watching a screen before you go to sleep is detrimental for your brain. It stops your brain from resting. Whereas podcasts are ideal for listening to before you go to sleep. And it's well known now that whatever it is that you're thinking about while you drift off to sleep stays in your brain for much longer. Podcasts are ideal for this. So if you could get into the habit of listening to a podcast every evening while you're drifting off to sleep, how much could that help you learn? But of course, one of the reasons why people don't listen to podcasts is quite simply because they don't realize what it is they're missing. They don't know the huge array of different podcasts there are available to take advantage of. But all you need to do is to take a few minutes to get on your phone, click on that podcast app, and do a little bit of browsing and see what there is on offer. For instance, 3 of my favorite podcasts are The Medical Mnemonist, which theoretically is just for medical students, but is actually an excellent podcast all about different learning techniques, skills, how to remember stuff better. For anybody who's studying anything, it's an excellent podcast to listen to. Another of my favorite podcasts, because as well as an author, I give talks on learning, is a podcast called The Speaker's Lab. It's excellent because it's full of information that's useful for anybody who's interested in growing a public speaking business. And my third favorite podcast is one that I would recommend to any entrepreneur, anybody who's trying to start their own business, which is Seth Godin's Startup School. I'm a big Seth Godin fan. And having Seth Godin with you while you're traveling is not only educational, it's also entertaining. So if you're tired of getting presents that you don't particularly want and that you don't have space to keep, why not treat yourself by browsing the podcast app on your mobile phone and seeing what amazing podcasts there are that can help you become a better learner. You'll be opening up a whole new side to your learning skills, which is what becoming a better learner is all about. My name is Ian Gibbs. This is Learning to Learn. I wish you a very educational festive season. Look forward to seeing you soon.